What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another segment episode of The Basement. I guess the first thing you're going to notice is the giant fire truck on the table. I used to have this when I was a little kid. It took me a little bit of research to figure out that it was a Nyland fire truck. That's a old company like Tonka. And after going through some old pictures with a friend of mine, I saw it and I'm like, damn, I bet you I could find that shit on eBay. And I did. And I just absolutely am crazy about this stupid thing. 'Cause I'm a child, and you know, even the ladder still goes up and everything. Just having a lot of fun with that. And it's big and metal, so you could definitely still chuck it at your friends and hurt them. I do have to be careful with it because unfortunately Joey Fazzola is not around anymore to fix it for me. Whenever I would bust up the front and slam it into the stoop or something like that. But very, very excited, feeling very childish at the moment. That arrived in the mail over the weekend. Let's quickly discuss some books this week. Superior Spider-Man 9 came out, and I'm sure you guys already know I'm displeased with the concept of it. Obviously, we know that Peter Parker will somehow find his way back. It's just the uphill climb to fucking get there. And why bother at this point? Like, you're 9 issues in, you're 9 months in, or whatever it is. Maybe it comes out every 3 weeks. I don't know. I'm not keeping track. And it's just like, how much more do we have to deal with this shit? And the thing that bothers me the most is I've been asked, like, what did you think of Dan Slott's run beforehand, like before the whole Doc Ock thing? I really liked it. I did nothing but rave about Dan Slott's whole fucking run. Every one of his stories. I loved them. And oh, God, that was a pussy burp. Ugh, God, I think something came up. I did nothing but fucking rave about Dan Slott, and now it's like you're capping off such an epic run by just pouring shit on your head and letting it simmer. It's disgusting. It's gross. It's smelly, and that's my take on the story. Basically, first of all, Dan Slott obviously was a very big fan of Matrix Revolutions because they've got Doc Ock and Peter Parker in his mind. The whole area is green. There's villains coming out of like doors and everything, just like little Agent Smiths and shit. I think at one point Peter Parker even turns around to him and he's like, "This is my mind. This is my world." And I'm just thinking back to Hugo Weaving when he's like flying in the air and everything, and he's fighting with Keanu Reeves. And I'm just reading this shit like, yeah, I know what's gonna happen. Let's just get there. And of course, by the end of it, Doc Ock convinces Peter Parker that he is unworthy to be Spider-Man because when he didn't trust Doc Ock and he tried to stop Ock from operating on a little 6-7-year-old girl because he didn't know if he was actually going to do the right thing, and plus he was trying to not have Ock get the brainwave device because then he would have found the anomaly in his, the little fucking, little echo thingy with the lines that would detect Peter Parker's own brainwaves still inside the Spider-Man's mind. So he was convinced him that he was selfish and he didn't deserve to be Spider-Man anymore. And Peter Parker just like slowly forgets himself and everything, and then he's gone. And the last page is Doc Ock saying, "I'm free." Whatever, man. Just fucking end this stupid story soon enough. Let me pull it up here. Yeah, here it is. Like, he's gone, and I'm free. There it is. It's a really stupid looking cover, too. I mean, clever with the whole brain and writing out Spider-Man, but whatever. I'm done with this whole Spider-Man thing. I just want it to resolve so I can get my character back. So let's talk Detective Comics 20. This was the conclusion for the Emperor Penguin storyline. Basically, Ogilvy, I don't know how the fuck to pronounce this guy's name. It's like Oglivy, I don't know. He injects himself with a mixture of the Venom and Man-Bat serum. He turns all purple face and he's got super strength, and he beats the shit out of Batman. Because he catches him off guard. Batman was not expecting a super strong villain. He was just expecting kind of like like a butler type that got delusions of grandeur. Basically, he hangs Batman out on the front lawn. Doesn't kill him, just kind of waits for the air to leave his fucking body instead of being smart about it. And along comes Oswald Cobblepot, fresh off of his case getting thrown out in court. And he lets Batman down, and Batman's like, why are you helping me? He says, because by helping you, I'm helping me. You gotta defeat this guy so I can have my life back. So Batman goes in, and, you know, Ogilvy's like, oh, well, I guess I'll just kick your ass again. Batman's like, no. You got me once. That was enough. You caught me by surprise. It's not going to happen again. So he proceeds to kick his ass, and then Ogilvy just kind of triumphantly says, well, it doesn't really matter that you beat me now. The fact is I beat you. I ran Gotham. And even though it was for 5 whole minutes, I'm still going to go down in the history books as the guy who beat Batman and took over Gotham City. But you still only did it for 5 whole minutes, bro. Chill out and just enjoy your cell in Blackgate. And now he's ruling Blackgate as Emperor Blackgate because he kills the boss, you know, whatever prisoner was in charge at the time. It is what it is. They give you a quick origin in the back that his father was, you know, another mob enforcer kind of guy, and he got killed over some stupid shit that actually he was not guilty of. Somebody accused him of stealing from the mob. So they killed him, and this guy grew up, you know, whatever, wanting everything that his father was accused of stealing in the first place. Something to make his dad proud, I guess. Whatever. But it was a good story. It was a good conclusion. I'm glad they didn't drag out the whole Emperor Penguin, and I'm glad that they ended it the way they did with, like, you know, he was not a character that needed to be around for a while. Maybe he'll show up again, but he's back to being the bitch-ass character that he is, and that's pretty much all we need. The Black Bat #1 from Dynamite came out this week. Pretty cool story. He's I found it a little confusing over who was who, but he's like a Batman type of character, but you can see he's very new at what he does. There's a couple scenes where he's trying to figure out like how he chooses his name and everything. I don't have it with me at the moment. It's around somewhere. Yeah, here it is. Knew I had it. Yeah, I bought this cover. The thing I always liked about Dynamite is they show you all the covers in the back, and there are no shortage of Black Bat variants this time around, but you can see he kind of becomes a superhero in his own right to protect his city and everything because he feels like it's, you know, whatever. It's like, hey, why not? It's just a kind of a fun story, man. You know, it's just starting out. This guy premiered in Masks, and now he's got his own series. He's already saying that he's no hero. He's out for revenge. He's, I forget who the hell he was trying to kill. I read this, like, the moment it came out on Wednesday. But one of his friends got hurt, and he went to go and beat the shit out of the mob for hurting him. It was a good story. I enjoyed it. He's kind of a Batman ripoff, but whatever. I'm okay with that. 10 Grand came out this past week. Basically, it's a very Harry Dresden story. If you're familiar with that character from Jim Butcher's series, it was a line of novels and then got turned into a comic book. Basically, Harry Dresden is a wizard who takes on clients who have, you know, supernatural crimes or magic misgivings happening to him. And the guy in this book gets paid 10 grand by various clients, excuse me, to take out whatever fucking demon or creature is assailing them. And this one girl comes up to him and she tells him about, you know, some demons that were inhabiting her home and whatnot. And he's like, oh, but it can't be this guy. She shows him a picture of him. And he's like, no, I killed this guy 2 years ago. She's like, well, it's him. And he's like, all right, I'll do this case for free. And it turns out this guy is going to be some big bad demon or whatever that killed his family or his girlfriend or something. You see where it's going. But it was a fun story, nonetheless. It's probably going to go for like 4 or 6 issues, which is typical of Image with these new stories that they kind of test out and see how the boat rocks and whatnot. But it was fun. I enjoyed it. I like those magical mystery tour comics. So, and I was enjoying all of the Harry Dresden books, so I didn't see any reason I wouldn't enjoy this. The artwork is pretty cool. It's very sketchy, and it kind of fits the dark, I don't want to say noir, but It's kind of got a certain feel to it that matches the story, which is very difficult to accomplish lately. And I know I complain about that a lot when like artwork doesn't really match the tone of a story, but this one does. And you can do a lot worse than just pick up 10 grand and check it out from Image Comics. That about does it for this week at the Pete's Basement Show, guys. I'm going to turn you over to Penny, and she's got some quick reviews for you, and we will see you all next week. So until then, happy reading. You know how to get in touch with us. Questions at Pete'sBasement.com, Facebook.com/Pete'sBasement, and follow us on Twitter. Oh, and be sure to check out our new PB Extras channel, where this video is being uploaded to right now. You'll find that we make a playlist on the regular parent YouTube channel, so that way you can easily find the PB Extras, and make sure you subscribe to that. The playlist is for the sake of all of our current subscribers, who will have an easier time finding all of the extra stuff that we're putting up on that station. And also, don't forget to subscribe to The Haul, guys. When you go on the Pete's Basement website, you'll see in the upper right-hand corner it says The Haul. That's Haul. Just make a quick subscription to that. Doesn't cost you nothing. And you can see what the Basement Boys are picking up each week. And finally, Roger wants me to remind you to take the survey. There's a Pete's Basement survey on the website itself, on Pete'sBasement.com. Be sure to take that, answer a couple of quick questions for us, and basically you'll be really helping us out on how to improve the show and what you like about the show and what you dislike about the show. So, I know everybody says segments of what people dislike, but you're just going to have to tolerate that for a little while longer while everything gets settled over here. So, we will see you guys next week. Be sure to do all the things I've requested of you, and I'll be back next week with a quick contest. See you then.
What's up, homies? Penny here, hoping that you're all having a great and fabulous weekend. I'm doing pretty good, and I'm going to share with you some stuff from my haul this week. I usually like the stuff that I go out of my way to pick up, but I have to say I was kind of disappointed in the book that I was looking forward to the most, which was The Movement #1. It's a DC book, and I was really excited for it. I heard it was going to be all conspiracy and vigilante rebel, kind of like Occupy type, fight the system group. I'm all about that kind of stuff. But this was a really weird first issue. I felt like everything was jammed in there and they tried to give you too much at one time for no reason whatsoever. It felt like they could have told a better story if they spread out all that junk into maybe like 2, even possibly 3 issues where they could have elaborated more and more character development. But otherwise it was really awkward and also semi-cheesy. Like this one dude called Mouse, who had a bunch of rats and stuff that he could control, I guess, with him. He referred to himself as the Mouse Prince, and all I could think of was the Rat King from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Mouse. That's the best name that you could come up with? I don't know. It wasn't bad, though. I want to give you an idea of what's going on in this issue, but it was weird. For starters, this movement group ends up making a video of 2 cops trying to extort sexual favors out of a minor in exchange for not arresting her, which gives you an idea of what the group is about, exposing corruption and protecting the innocent. Then it goes into the police captain running around trying to find a killer, and there's a crime scene and random people with powers doing stuff that, not that it was confusing, but like I said, it was awkward and all over the place. I live at an airport, like I said. It was awkward and all over the place, and not even in like that bam pow action packed kind of way. It was just all over the place. I don't know. Maybe I'm just dumb and like I'm not reading this book properly. I don't know. To me, it was awkward and all over the place. I'm gonna give it like 2 or 3 more issues because I really like books that like fighting the system and exposing corruption and all that. So 2 more issues to kind of regulate and steady itself so I can learn what the heck is going on. But so staying with the conspiracy and corruption deal, Snapshot 4, it's done. I've already covered issue 2 and 3 with you guys, and 4, last issue in this miniseries. Crap hit the fan for the most part in the last issue where these 2 kids finally uncovered the conspiracy and the truth about it that they got mixed up in, and they're on the run. They exposed this whole messed up operation, and now things have to be dealt with and cleaned up by the bad guys. It's hard for me to talk about this book without getting into the conspiracy, because I don't want to spoil it for you, because that's half the fun in reading it. But if you're interested in a non-superhero, super-powered book that's about conspiracies and cover-up and government baloney, just go pick up this book. I will tell you that I liked the ending because it wasn't all perfect and wrapped up in a neat little package, which goes to show you that it's true, it's life. You can't always beat the system. Things are corrupted. There isn't always an immediate solution, and the man will either dispose of you or hold you nice and tight by the testicles until they find a way that they can use you to their advantage. And although while this series ended here, you never know, they could do more stories, and it kind of implied that you're screwed, more or less. But moving along, the next book I checked out was 68 Jungle Gym number 2. I didn't read number 1, so I don't know the full deal, but I didn't feel too lost. I could say that you would just jump on this one if you wanted to. The year is 1968, as the story takes place in Vietnam during the war, or directly after the war, rather. It's also a zombie book, and I like zombies. The book was kind of interesting. This dude, we'll call him Jungle Jim, although he says he's not the original Jim, seems to be kind of stranded there in the jungle, or maybe he stayed behind on purpose to help the people out there since the war made things tough, and there is a zombie situation of some kind going on. He talks to himself, or rather to his sergeant in his head who's not around, and I like it though. I feel like his sergeant might have been someone who taught him a lot and that he looked up to, so he still channels his spirit basically in his head for advice, more or less. So while Jim's doing his part, there is some side stuff that shows a French woman elsewhere living in the jungle running a mission of some sort as a teacher and doing her part to educate Vietnamese children. She's there with an older man and maybe his grandson that said they promised her father to look over her and also the rest of the children there. And considering that something happens in the end of the comic that puts them in trouble, I'm sure Jungle Jim and them are going to cross paths in the next issue. There was a part that really struck me funny where Jim saves a little girl from a napalm drop, but she's scared as hell thinking he might be one of those zombies, so he takes off his gas mask and takes off his hat and just, reveals that he's just a regular, totally blonde dude. And he must have looked like Duke to this kid, because she's like, G.I. Joe! And then she was all happy. I thought that was cute. Also, there's a big kitty in this book, and I love kitties, but I mean big like a tiger, which leads to tigers versus zombies, and I'm down with that. I was down with this book. It was cool and interesting enough for me to pick up the 3rd issue. I think there's only 4 of them, actually. I should go back and get the first one so I can see probably more of why Jim is there in the first place, and maybe how the zombies popped up. Speaking of zombie stuff, I also picked up Colonized number 2, and just like Jungle Jim, I didn't read the 1st issue either. Colonized is a story about aliens versus zombies, sort of. Even though there seems to be quite a few comics already that have that concept, and a lot of them from IDW no less, it doesn't seem to be getting old to me. And I'm always interested in new concepts on how zombies can be made. It can only be a government or scientific experiment gone awry so many times. Then you got Muzu Zombies. So this one was interesting. Aliens are trying to abduct someone using their little abduction beam, but Earth's atmosphere is so polluted that it's messing with their equipment, and somehow the beam it does something, and it raises the dead in this small little town, and the aliens feel bad. So I'm digging it. It was kind of cool. Other alien stuff that came out this week was Mars Attacks 10. I haven't read it yet, but I seem to pick up this book randomly. I don't read them in any order. Excuse me, and it's always fine. I just pick it up and read it, and it's good. So I'll get to that eventually. I also need to get around to reading another IDW book, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Color Classics 10, because I like the Turtles. The Turtles are always fun, and they never disappoint me. But getting back to something that I actually read, Ape Sapien 2, Dark and Terrible. I told you how much I enjoyed the first one, and the second one is good too. They get more into what's been going on with Abe, because he was in a coma and had some kind of epiphany about his origin and who he is. He's kind of on the run from the BPRD while he deals with this business and figures it out. We also find that there's all these monsters popping up all over the place, and they get more into explaining that in this issue too. I like how he's drifting about. In the first issue, he was squatting in one of them cargo train cars with a bunch of hobos, and like this time he's running around. He gets a sanctuary thanks to a preacher who actually took him in and didn't freak out over Abe's appearance, because as it turns out, these monsters that are running around all over the place somehow alter people that they come in contact with or near contact with, and people will mutate, turn kind of monsterish or get weird. So that explains why the preacher wasn't afraid of Abe. He thought he was one of these people that just got transformed. But the preacher has his own ideas about what's going on and why this monster stuff is happening, and it's freaking out all the people in this town. Things kind of escalate quickly and it becomes a mess. And Abe's all caught up in the middle of it, so I'm worried about him. The next book I read was Green Arrow 20, which I like. I only started reading Green Arrow a few issues ago. I like Ollie. I feel like Arrow doesn't get the props he deserves, and maybe this book is underrated. I don't think a lot of people are reading it, it feels like to me. You know, for someone with superpowers and stuff, he does his thing. And you know, I really have a soft spot for archers and archery. I actually have a bow and some arrows I shoot around my house. This book, 20, wraps up all the stuff that Ollie's been going through, all the baloney, like being framed for murder and Queen Industries blowing up, and he thought he lost one of his friends in the blast, but turns out they were just abducted by this Komodo bastard that he's dealing with, and he had her captive and was using her to get one over on Green Arrow. So this kind of explains all that, wraps it up all nice. If you want to jump onto Green Arrow, I would say get 1819 and this issue 20, just so you could be more informed for the new angle that's going to happen, which is Ollie dealing with some of his own personal stuff about his dad, because Komodo put him onto some stuff, and about the island, and he's really confused about who he is and what he thought now. So issue 21 is going to start that. Issue 20 left me hanging in a good way for it, so I'm definitely going to get issue 21. Also still reading Phantom Stranger number 8, which just came out. The series isn't boring me yet. Still digging it. The stranger ran into the question in the last issue, and he, along with his so-called friend, I think Dr. 13 or Professor 13, betrayed him by stabbing him with the Spear of Frickin' Destiny. That's some magical junk right there. Somehow the stranger gets, in this issue, deposited all messed up in front of the Justice League doorstep, so they do their best to try to revive him. And while that's going on, the stranger's actual consciousness seems to be caught in a non-world with some other entity, which must have brought him there, who is someone from his past that's gonna be big trouble. And meanwhile, the stranger's family, or rather, that family that he kind of adopted by inhabiting another dude's body, basically stealing his life, are still missing. And the details about the life he stole, so to speak, are revealed in this issue, and things weren't exactly what, you may have thought they were. Really interesting. Down with Phantom Stranger. I also read Thanos Rising number 2. I wasn't going to, because the first issue kind of leaves you with the impression that it's going to be one of those good kid manipulated into being bad type deal, but that's not quite the case. They kind of misled me. Sure, that weird girl from the first issue was kind of manipulative, but for the most part, she's not encouraging him. She's just not discouraging him from the impulses that he already has. It's not like she's quite putting ideas in his head. She's just not taking them out. In this issue, he also mentions how he felt bad for bashing up all those lizards in the first issue, which led you to believe that he was just going to be bad from then on. Although, you know what they say, people who harm animals, especially as children, have something dark in them. I guess that's why Rob Zombie added that aspect to Michael Myers' origin in the Halloween remake. Thanos is already a bit more grown in this issue, and you see he has this dilemma where he's very bright, so he's excelling faster and well far beyond his peers and his professors, so he's bored. He's bored, and he's not learning what he really wants to learn, which is who he is, where he came from, and why he is. He's very bright and like a self-taught scientist who made a self-made lab with self-made tools, and he does a lot of animal dissecting. But there's only so much you can learn about yourself from animals, since you yourself are not an animal, and eventually you're gonna have to move on to different subjects. It's not bad. I just might pick up issue 3. There's only 4 of them, right? So why not? The last book, which might be my book of the week, is 10 Grand. I really dug it, but since it has a Harry Dresden meets Constantine kind of vibe. That's not surprising. I dig that stuff. 10 Grand's main character is maybe kind of a cynical dude named Joe Fitzgerald with some kind of ties to the supernatural or knowledge of otherworldly things. He regularly sits in the back of the same booth at Lenny's local bar, and he waits. He waits for someone with a problem to seek him out, because everyone knows if you have a problem and no one wants to help you, you go to Joe Fitzgerald at Lenny's, and for 10 grand, you got his help. It's business as usual when a girl approaches him at the bar about a gig regarding her sister, who seems to have gotten mixed up in something of a cult. Although not a cult on the outside, it's like a front. Which really reminded me of the movie Bless the Child, if you've ever seen that, which is a religious demon thriller type of movie with the same thing. The sister gets caught up in a cult. Everything's all good and business as usual until this girl hands him a picture of the leader of this cult, which is a guy that he's seen dead, shot dead himself, no less. So he says, no, I'll do this for free, just don't question me. But why does Joe take these jobs? Naturally, 10 grand a pop is a good deal, but his actions aren't entirely his own decision. He has a debt to pay, and I don't mean a money-wise debt, I mean karma-wise. Like the Phantom Stranger almost, and it's really interesting. I think if you like demonology, supernatural, paranormal investigation, you'll dig this book. Oh, you know what else I got? I also got this Catwoman Pez impulse buy yesterday at CVS. I didn't know that they made Catwoman Pez. I ate the Pez already, but it tasted like strawberry chalk. I don't know, it was weird. It didn't remind me of like the Pez when I was a kid. So that's that. I'm gonna put this on my Catwoman shrine. It's gonna be awesome. And that's it. Lost my flower. So that's it. I hope that you found something interesting in our reviews today, and maybe on Wednesday you'll head to the comic book store and get anything cool that you might have missed. And let us know. Let us know what you thought of your haul of comics. You could go hit us up on Facebook. I'm always on there yapping. I love to hear from you. So that's that. I'll see you then, and you have a great day.
This past one, oh Christ, who the fuck was it?
Ew, it tastes different. It tastes like strawberry chalk. Why am I still eating it? Whatever. But cool Catwoman Pez.
I don't fucking remember who it was. Shit. Okay, sorry.
And now you head over to the comic book store this Wednesday to pick up some cool stuff you might have missed this week. I'm choking on the freaking Pez. Oh my god.
Wow, totally fucking mind wiped.
I'm dying.
I don't fucking remember.